Welcome to the program, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Andres, the Honest Broker. Good to have you along the program today because I got an interview for you today. Again, I know it's been the month of interviews and I'm excited to bring varied content and from different voices other than myself to you because I know you like hearing me, but it's always nice to hear that other people share the same ideals and sentiments as I do. And I have had people that come up to me and say, "Hey Andres, I'm ready to flip, man. Let's go get this." And I'm seeing the flip signs go up again. But hey, you come to me before this year, I would have told you, fantastic, you want to invest in real estate. Flip market's been dead for like a decade, so I don't know what you're coming here to shop for. But if you really, really, really want to flip, you're going to go out of state. And that's precisely who I have on the program today. His name is James Allen. He's the out-of-state investor. He took some advice about investing in real estate. He wanted to get into the flip market, and it wasn't going to happen here in California. So he took it to heart, invested out of state, and it's gone very well for him. So without further ado, here is my interview with James, the out-of-state investor. James, welcome to the Andres Segovia Show.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, just a little background for those listening onto the program. James, I would say he married into the family because his wife and I go way, way, way back before any of us were born, it seems. So it's cool to see someone growing into the family that ended up taking real estate advice and running away with it. Because you're technically considered the millennial generation. Am I right?
That is correct.
And I have an article here that as of this recording, it'd probably be a little more dated, but it'll still be relevant. The article saying that the millennials they don't really have home buying or real estate investment as a priority in their life. They have other things. There was even an article yesterday about millennials complaining about life being harder than ever, and among the issues they face on a daily basis that makes their life tough is slow Wi-Fi, a broken smartphone.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up.
Tough times.
Yeah, really tough times. In talking about investing in real estate, what inspired you to invest in real estate? Well, actually, you know what? Before we talk about that, what did you do for a living in the first place?
Well, I mean, I still have a W-2 job. So what I do right now is I am currently, for my full-time job, I am a what they call an assistant divisional music director. So basically, I kind of help train musicians in the church for about 51 different churches in the region. Okay. And so that's kind of what I do for my day job.
A musician by day and an investor by night.
There you go, and very early morning.
What inspired you then to invest in real estate?
Well, I think it all started with $25,000 of debt. If that's not inspiring enough, I don't know what it is.
Right. Well, then that actually leads into a great question. So why real estate instead of, say, the stock market?
Yeah, I was doing research when I hit $25,000 of debt. That was the low point in our lives, with me and Priscilla. And I just couldn't take it anymore. I just couldn't take it anymore to the point where I just wanted to do whatever I had to do for us to be in a very financially strong position. And as I was researching, I saw the statistic that over 90% of millionaires invest in real estate.
Boom.
And I said, oh my gosh, I need to do whatever I can possibly do to become an expert in this field so that I can succeed and build a lot of wealth for my family.
I think you hit the nail right on the head there because there's a lot of negative news happening right now, even as this recording goes live, that is just trying to just tell people to get out of real estate or don't be involved in real estate for XYZ reasons, a topic that I actually cover in another episode of this program. Therein goes the point that if 90% of millionaires are investing in real estate, they must be doing something right. Otherwise, why would they still be in it? Up market, down market, what is the secret of real estate? So I feel there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I'm actually really happy that you were able to do that kind of research to see that real estate is that avenue to go in. And the thing is, I imagine because of your situation, you were very calculated when you were going to take the plunge, if you will. Because as I understand it, you live in California, and you did not invest in California to start with. Am I right?
That's correct.
So where did you look?
Well, I started looking in California because, what everyone talks about is, start in your own backyard, right? And I think the big problem I kind of kept coming back to was just the cost of getting in the game. And, I probably had just enough to maybe get started. Maybe I forget exactly all the exact numbers and everything. Mm-hmm. But I do remember the biggest problem I kept coming across was that these properties weren't going to seriously cash flow for me. And so that was the big problem. And I just felt, as I was learning more about real estate, I just saw how important cash flow was for what I was looking for. And it's not just in terms of building a passive stream of income, but it also provides that mitigation of risk to where no matter what the market does, up or down, you're protected because you always have that stream of income covering the rent or covering the mortgage payment every month. And it just gives you that solidified base point to where you don't have to worry about up or down in the market.
And your research basically took you out of California.
It did, exactly. Yeah, I saw that there were much better opportunities in different states than there was in California. And California wasn't really known for its cash flow. It's not really maybe if you bought years ago and stuff like that, now you're probably doing pretty well, especially if you bought in 2011, probably got some pretty sweet deals. But, in today's market, or even if, you go a few years back to when I was getting started, I just didn't see that there was really that opportunity for strong cash flow in California. And most people, weren't really looking at California as a strong landlord place to have rental property at that point.
Well, it's a great place to have rental property, but you did mention that it's not very landlord friendly here in the state. And yes, that battle continues at the election polls almost every single election cycle, and it's going to continue. So yes, that is true. So where did you end up landing first to do your first out-of-state investment?
So I started out with Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I started. It's my first point.
You basically state hopped because it started there, then you ended up going to other states as well, right?
That's right, yeah. So I started at Atlanta and I went on to Knoxville, Tennessee, and then I've done another deal in Florida as well. But most of my deals have been in Knoxville, and Atlanta was really the place that got me started out of state.
What attracts, because it's interesting, most people look for coastal regions and you pick the place that's not even near an ocean. It's still Knoxville, Tennessee. What is happening there now that is so attractive for you? 'Cause I think you said that you're focusing more on that area too, right?
I am focusing more on that area. So I'd like to back up if that's okay and kind of start with what drew me to Atlanta, because that's really what got me going out of state. And I think the first things you have to look at whenever you're investing out of state is you want a place that you see growth taking place. And I'm talking about, population growth, job growth, things of that nature. And so Atlanta was a place that was really booming. I mean, it still is, actually. It's really booming right now. And, population growth, soaring, job growth, just humongous job growth. And so much stuff going on. I mean, they were building casinos, there's, university expansions, there were transportation, new transportation being put in there, big time diverse economy with headquarters of Coca-Cola, Home Depot, Delta Airlines. I mean, you had so much going for you in Atlanta. And then on top of that, the rent to price ratio, which I talk about a lot because that's going to give you a good idea of what kind of cash flow you can get for a general rule of thumb. It was really good in Atlanta as well. And so it basically ticked all my boxes for me, and that's what led me to Atlanta. And the way I kind of analyze markets is I kind of start from a 30,000 square foot. I'm getting into real estate a little too much now. 30,000 feet view as I'm looking down, and I kind of pick a general market, which would be your Atlanta market. And as when you pick that market, then you want to scale down a little more and find your neighborhoods and subsections that you really want to target. And that's when I found a really great gentrifying area that I ended up targeting. And unfortunately now it's just a little overpriced, and that's what ended up leading me out of Atlanta and looking for more of a new venture with Knoxville, Tennessee.
We're talking to James, the out-of-state investor, here on the Andres Segovia show. I did want to mention that you're not the only one I know that's gone to Atlanta to invest, and also Tennessee, for which is why I was asking. And in comparison to the other individual that I know that's done their investments versus, say, you, is that someone just, I guess you could say, a little birdie told them to go invest, and that, yeah, I'll go do it. And they put their money where they didn't know what they were doing. So they ended up getting into a bad investment, and I believe they are still dealing with that bad investment to this day. Whereas in your case, as it was calculated and very learned in what you were going to do, and you didn't want to risk it for, in your case, your growing family, because you have two little ones at this point. You wanted to make sure they were cared for. That would be the difference between you and the other individual I know, where they had grown kids at this age, so they didn't have to worry about, I guess, taking care of them in that sense. But I guess you could say you had more at stake, and you were really calculated, and it's gone better for you than it did for them. Because I would say they started around the same time as you did in investing out of state, but just that they didn't play their cards right. So learning a reconnaissance of sorts is very important in the world of real estate, because it could go very, very wrong. There was a post that you ended up making. I don't know if it was a result of that. What was the response of your social circle that convinced you to basically start educating people on how to invest out of state?
I just have a passion for it, and I think, YouTube is, basically where I do my education. And I just have a passion to share, my knowledge with people. And, there's not a ton of people that I have to talk with about real estate on a consistent basis. So it's a great way for me to kind of have that outlet to kind of just talk to people and help people, grow their wealth and their net worth.
Yeah, but I don't know if you took this much credit into it, because since I seen your growth, so to speak, when you posted that video, when you announced that you were going to start educating people on YouTube, that post of yours in 48 hours garnered 1,000 views, and that was all organic growth. Why do you think your video got that much of a response? Do you think it was clickbait, or was there a truly a positive response to what you were doing, and there was hunger for knowledge?
I think it's hunger for knowledge. I think people sometimes put it in their heads that real estate is just completely out of the realm of possibility for them. But it's not as hard as they might think it is. They just got to take the time to understand how it works and put in those hours to really educate themselves. That's the only thing that's really stopping them. And I think when they saw that I was going to be doing something that might be able to help them get over that hurdle, that probably garnered some excitement in them. So,
yeah, and that's good, and I believe it's off to a good start in that sense, since you launched this year, and you just actually wrapped up after this recording. You actually wrapped up a series on how to buy a rental property. It was a 6-part series that you worked on, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and the data that you're sharing is both a combination of what you experience for yourself, but also were there tools of the trade that you turn to educate yourself in that sense, or these are numbers, real figures that you've been able to work with through your experience?
Oh yeah, 100%. There are real figures, that I've been able to work with over the past few years. But I think also, some of the things not number based, but just kind of different terms or things I talk about in the videos are things I've not just learned on my own, but also learned from different mentors or courses I've taken or books I've read, and I'm just basically passing that knowledge forward.
Yeah, and therein goes the point that there's so much information out there to digest, and sometimes people don't take that step to go. It's right there, and yet it's like,
that's just crazy.
I don't want to do the legwork, but here you are doing the legwork, right? You're basically doing what you're encouraging everybody else should be doing, but you're bringing all that information to them, and that's also kind of the focus of this program, where it's it's to inspire, motivate, and encourage people, and not just in the world of real estate. I believe the methodologies to success that are learned through real estate, even for people that don't get involved in real estate per se, they can apply it to their everyday lives and whatever career they're doing, even in their studies. These are things that it's just habits that they can adopt for themselves, a mindset to get them to that next step in life that they can build.
Oh yeah,
on. It's just
completely agree.
They can just apply it in everyday life. But just like you're an example, real estate is the additional income, so to speak. It's not.
Yeah.
It wasn't your primary base, and everybody seems to turn to real estate as the sure way to bring in the additional income if they're not making ends meet on their other job. Not to say they're letting go of the other job. Some might, like a colleague of mine who was a doctor, and through his profession, he just met a lot of people that had real estate to do. So he ended up getting his license and started doing it on the side. And it got so good for him, he left his profession altogether and just focused on real estate. So it went well for him. Everybody is involved in real estate, whether they know it or not, whether they're buying, selling, or renting.
Yep.
They're in real estate no matter what. It's just, are you going to do something with it or not?
Yep.
It's gone well for you out of state, because some people saying the market's slowing down or there's concerns here and there. Do you feel at all concerned about your investments?
No, not at all. No, I'm excited to see what happens. But, either way, I feel like it's always a win. If people aren't buying, then they're renting, right? So, it's a win-win for me, having rental property as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Amen to that. I don't think it's a coincidence that your latest video as of this recording about frugal living, it so happened that another website, I can't believe I'm plugging these guys in, but www.biggerpockets.com also published frugal living as well. I'm like, hey, look, almost everybody's in sync.
I love Bigger Pockets. That's actually one of the things that got me started, Bigger Pockets.
For someone that living here in California, you have investments over there, and people can definitely go check out your YouTube to learn more. But how often do you fly out to check on your investments?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I mean, I don't actually fly out that often. I definitely no more than once a year. I don't really need to fly out there. I have property management that takes care of everything for me, and it's just a phone call away to touch base with them. And everybody that's on my team, whether it's a contractor or property management or agent, I've met with them in person. So I have an authentic, real relationship with these people, and I know what kind of people they are from having talking to them in person. And so, I feel at peace.
Well, that's really good to know, because there's this guy that calls himself the Real Estate Dingo. He's out there in Ohio. He produced an opinion video, even though he's like me, an investor and a broker. I believe he's a broker. He's been featured on many different of those major platforms and business journals. He was just bashing like contractors and property managers, and me as a property manager and a contractor. I really took offense to that, but I get it. It does me good to hear about your experiences. Then it goes to show the peace of mind you can achieve by simple virtue of doing your homework, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, hey, James, thank you so much for being on the program. I want to give you an opportunity for people to be able to connect with you. Where can they follow you to learn more?
Yeah, YouTube is the place to go. Just search for me, The Out-of-State Investor. You search that on YouTube, I'll come up first thing that you see. And plenty of content out there that I'm talking about. I'm putting out new videos every week, so every Friday particularly at the moment, and looking to expand on that, maybe even start doing multiple videos a week soon. So just follow me there and subscribe to the channel and like those videos.
And like those videos, yeah, definitely. All right, well, hey, James, the Out-of-State Investor here on the Andres Segovia Show. Thank you so much for being on, and we'll definitely see you on the other side.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.